a super final quarter. But do you feel the guys made life difficult for themselves a bit with lack of discipline at times and some fairly sloppy moments as well?
Exactly that, Ken. That was my message at half time. We can't start. We give them a maul and they get a penalty and they get another maul and then another penalty. And I think we conceded about 10 penalties in the first sort of, 15 minutes. And then as I said, you play against a really good team, they'll punish you. So, yeah, I think I'm happy with the way we're playing. And I say that because I think that you could see we're trying to play a little bit differently. We're not trying to be conservative. I want us to actually have a crack. But I think we just got to find a balance. I think that's for me is the most important thing. I think we get tight head props dropping the ball in the 22 because the locks passed it to him. We're like playing touch rugby there. And I just said, look, come on. At the end of the day, the game is about going forward, scoring some points. So, yeah, so just to sum it up, Ken, exactly that. I thought we were loose at times, and that happens sometimes, but I think the more we play and the more we actually understand, there'll be times where we need to tighten it up.
Jake, congratulations, number one. Secondly, 89 points scored in 18 minutes. What does that say about the defensive effort by both teams? It's not only the Griquas, but you guys also.
Yeah, no, I'm sure the defense coach, Joey, is not going to be too happy with that. Conceding 3 tries, and then at the end there, we sort of, we gave them sort of 15, 16 rucks, I think, at the end there. And yeah, the point I'm making is that, we don't ever want to concede. That's probably a lot of points that we've conceded at home. But again, Carl, I'm repeating myself. We made a few mistakes and we had lots of opportunities where we were almost on the way to go and score. We turned the ball over and, we gave them, I wouldn't say soft tries, but soft opportunities to actually counter-attack. And that's part of what happens when you play this brand of rugby. It is risk. But at the same time, it's obviously reward as well. To score 55 or 56 points, whatever it was today as well, is also pleasing because it means that you got backs and forwards, cohesive together as well.
Jake, maybe I'm overly critical. Maybe I'm getting old or something. I don't know. But is this good for South African rugby? Because and I did an article earlier this week as well. As we're playing this Currie Cup competition, it seems like defense at times is optional. And when you go into the Northern Hemisphere, when you go into bigger competitions, this type of rugby is not going to bring you much reward.
Yeah, well, you can. Look, I think you can say that because the Northern Hemisphere, and I'm talking about that competition, has a certain style. But don't forget, those Northern Hemisphere sides haven't played at Loftus and at Ellis Park and at Cape Town Stadium in the middle of summer. So, that means the complexity of that competition will change significantly anyway. For South African sides playing some of those Northern Hemisphere sides in the summer months in South Africa. So I can't see it being 13-12 in a contest where people aren't moving the ball around. So I think you're right. Historically, it has been that sort of thing. I don't think, to be fair, Jan, you look at the New Zealand style, their games, their Super Rugby style, and also 42, 36, and that does wonders for the skill level of the international players. So, yeah, I don't want to go into a shell now. I don't want to go, and obviously we've got to tighten up our defence and not leak tries through lost opportunities of not scoring. Yeah, that's, as I said, you look at how the tries come both ways. Let's be fair. Even our first try, they dropped the ball and Goosen picked it up and went and scored a soft try under the poles. So. It's I think for both teams, and I can only talk for myself, but both teams we need to look at ways in which we can get a bit of structure, but we mustn't go into our shell. So otherwise, I think we're not going to give ourselves an advantage against the Northern Hemisphere sides in the middle of summer in South Africa.
Jake, is your thinking?
Sorry.
Carry on, Simon.
Thank you, Ken. Jake, you're thinking just on that vein that you're busy with, is the thinking to as far as your style of play to accommodate Northern Hemisphere type of play when you go and play there.
Yes.
And to be able to alternate between the two, is that do I get the gist of
Simon,
your reasoning between?
That's exactly it. If it's pelting down with rain and you're playing. In Glasgow, you're not going to be able to play like that. So, then you're going to have to, the way you select teams, the way your style is, maybe your scrum and your maul, and maybe your kicking becomes more important, you know. But let's be fair. In the middle of December, we're playing against Edinburgh at Loftus, and it's, you know, it's an afternoon game where the middle of December, it's, you know, 30 degrees. You don't want to be playing for a 13-12 win. You want to be playing to, you know, to play a different style. And also, I mean, you look at teams like the teams that have won it. That's also why you can learn from history. You look at teams like Leinster that have dominated. You know, they can keep the ball for 15, 16 phases at a time, Simon. So, you know, I'm not saying that you need to do it all the time, but I think you've got to be confident that when you need to do it, and against certain opposition and in certain temperatures and conditions, that you have the ability to actually and the confidence to actually do it.
Jake, just going on to the positives, I mean, you touched on it. The mauls and scrums were really, really good tonight, weren't they? I mean, those are two areas where Griquas can cause problems.
100%. You know, I mean, I think, and Ken, you know, it's like anything. I'm not giving you guys a rugby lesson, but the point is, as a coach, when you see that it's fine, but I would also like to have a bit more variation, because you're not going to get away mauling every single line out. And I'm not saying we did. It's just about the balance of when you run around the back of the line out, when you maul, what do you do from the maul? You know, what happens if you don't get any love from the maul? You know, what is the other option? So I'm very happy. I'm very happy that when we did maul against a team like Griquas that have this season done really well in stopping mauls, and also the scrum, you know, their scrums improved a lot. You know, their scrum last week, I watched them against the Lions, and their scrum was you know, really good. So to get some dominance there also is obviously pleasing, because that is something you're going to have to do in the Northern Hemisphere, is be able to scrum and maul when it's, you know, when it's inclement conditions.
Any questions?
Jacob, sorry, yeah. Jake, is there any injuries, any niggles or something that you get into the next game?
No, Jan. I mean, obviously now it's boxing clever about we play Saturday and then Wednesday against the Pumas. So I mean, you know, it's you know, again, without giving things away, there's no injuries, but I think what we might have to do is rotate a bit and give some guys who got minimal time today maybe a start, and maybe vice versa for next Wednesday. So, yeah, Jan, I mean, that's one of the pleasing things. We got out. I mean, the only guy I think was Marcel Coetzee got a head knock. But, you know, again, the protocol is if he passes, or if he doesn't pass his concussion tests, you know, we might have him or we might not have him. But, you know, at this point in time, I think he's probably the only guy, Jan, that we're looking at that might not, as I said, through concussion protocols, whether he won't be available for the weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.